Hey, how's it going? Alright, so today I think I'm going to be taking off the fuel rail and replacing the injector seals. I have a little kit here with all the O-rings, and the reason I want to do this is that these are pretty old. The injectors do work fine. I might send them in for a ultrasonic cleaning if I have the chance. I did get this thing running, but I want it to run just a little bit better. It does bog out at low RPMs, like around idle. It does idle pretty low at like 750 RPM. So, I mean, it's running pretty good. It's just I don't want to have any loss of fuel around this area because I don't trust the seals on it right now because they're so old. And you know, with it being right around where the spark plugs are, I don't want to cause a fire on this car and burn anything. So I think it'd be definitely worth my time to go ahead and replace the seals. I got this off of 944 online. It cost me about, I think, $26, and then I got free shipping on it because I had a couple other things in the order as well. And so it came in like 3 days. I really love this site because they always deliver stuff like really quickly. And then I got some wire covers for the injector wires right here. The reason I'm going to do that is that it's just going to dress up the engine a little bit more and make everything look a little bit nicer. So it'll be both a little bit more visually appealing and it won't leak fuel anywhere. It's not like it is right now, but I just don't want to risk it. It's pretty easy to take off, so quick job. I can get this done today. So before I start just ripping stuff apart, I do have a couple things that I need to double check. First, there's some fasteners right here. I'm probably going to spray these down with some penetrant oil so that I can have an easier time taking them off, because they do seem to have a little bit of rust on them. I don't know what that's from. They seem a tiny bit corroded. There's also some back here. I don't know if you can see that too well. That's right under the spark plug wires. There's another fastener right there, and a fourth one finally right here. Now I need to take all four of those off to be able to move this. And so there's this right here. I will be removing this. These have a 19 right here and a 17 right here on this side. So counter leverage, just break that apart. And then on this side right here, there is another line. This is for the return. This comes off of the, I think this is the pressure regulator, and this is the pressure damper right here. They have air lines going to them, and this is, I think it's supposed to induce a laminar flow to the injectors so that it has a better misting. Now, I also hear some complaints with some people on forums about this fuel rail in specific, because the pressure damper and pressure regulator are before the injectors, which kind of doesn't make sense in a way, because wouldn't you want that after the last injector so then you can regulate all four instead of like doing that before you get to the injectors? So that's what confuses me. And then they also switch over this specific fuel rail to have the fuel entrance on the front instead of from the rear. So it's a little bit different than later models, because this is a pretty early fuel rail model of the 944s. So to help me out here, I do have a workshop book. Now this thing is amazing. It helps me with a whole bunch of stuff and figuring out things, because not everything is on YouTube. This book is actually very helpful. It has everything from 1983, which is the first year that the 944 was produced, to 1986. That is not the last year, but it is whenever they did start switching over to a new interior body style, and also introducing some other stuff with the 944s. This also includes the turbo models, so if you go into the fuel and exhaust system, it will have another section for the turbo. Alright, so I'm back. I did a little bit of looking around at what I need to do. I can tell you a little bit more accurately. I did put some penetrant oil on these, so they're sitting right now. But anyway, so I'm going to take these little clips off, so then I can have a little bit more wiggle room while I'm doing this. Before I do take this system off, I'm going to need to disconnect this negative battery terminal. I'm going to depressurize the fuel rail, and how I do that is I can get a 19mm wrench around this and just break it loose. I'm going to have a couple rags underneath here while I do that, so then it doesn't make a mess or anything like that. And then I'm going to be removing these vacuum tubes right here. Afterwards, we're going to go right here, and there's a little screw right here that keeps the return hose in place. We're going to use a Phillips head and be able to remove that. And it'll slide right out with a screwdriver, so you just kind of need to get it in the area right here, and then you can pry it out. I'm going to be using some silicone grease, lubricant, so that I can get the tubes off a little bit easier. And after I do that, I can go ahead and disconnect this line as well, and it should just pull straight out. But before I do that, I'm going to have to disconnect these electrical connectors. How I can do that is they do have a little spring that holds them in, but they can be removed with a screwdriver, as you can see right here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those, and then I can go ahead and pull the fuel rail straight out. Alright, so I tried to get the camera set up as best as I could to film how I actually get them off. So I'm using a small pick that has a 45-degree angle on it, and so I can get around this side of the spring, and I can put my finger around on the other side. And now I can get around it and just pull it off like this. And so I just kind of work it all the way around, and then I go to the other half and then work that side off as well, and it comes right off. And then these just pull straight out. You might have to wiggle them a little bit. Alright, and so the last one right here, it's a really tight fit. I managed to get it off, no problem though. The pick actually really does help because it's so thin. I actually got that set of these 4 picks at Harbor Freight. It comes in this little tray here too, so you have an assortment of them. I got some other picks as well here in this little bag. But it's very cheap, very affordable. They're definitely worth it. It's like $2 for them. I would definitely suggest it for trying to get these removed. So it's too tight of a fit to actually get it out, so I'm going to have to remove it whenever I take the fuel rail itself off. I mean, it's coming off anyways, so I don't really have a problem with it. And I'm going to readjust the injector because it should be turned to this side so that I can actually remove it, because there's a lot more clearance if it's pointed this way rather than this way, because this comes up a little bit, so then I can actually move it up and down. So if I ever have a problem with the injector in the future, I can remove this thing a whole lot easier. Alright, and so now that we have all of this done, we're going to take off the 4 bolts that are around this area, and then we can actually lift the fuel rail out. First we're going to disconnect that line before we do that, and then we can take it out a lot easier. That's a good seal on this, I can't lie. It was, so old. But here we have our fuel rail with the injectors. This is what it looks like. Our 4 injectors. All right, and to pop these injectors off, just a little look at their condition. That seal is not even there anymore, so I'm gonna have to pull it out of the hole that it was in. this is coming apart, this is coming apart, this is coming apart. So it's good that I'm going in here and actually replacing them, because what I thought was happening was happening. So there's a little retaining clip that kind of goes around on the sides. It spins freely, but you can just pop it out with a screwdriver and a little bit of leverage like this. I'm probably going to have to set the camera down for these. But yeah, just pops off. And then with one hand, let's see if I can do it, you can wiggle these injectors off. Alright, so I got all 4 injectors off, and so they pop out. So you can kind of push them to the side, and then I used this to get under it. I was worried I might damage them, but they're pretty good. This is the worst thing that happened. But overall, it's still going to be fine because there's a seal like before it. So it's not the thing that seals it, it's this O-ring, and I'm going to be replacing them anyways. However, there is something that messed up whenever I did take it off. Oh man, just dropped all 4. Great. And it's that this part was not sticking to the injector, so it is currently stuck on the block. So I'm a little bit worried about how to get that out. I think I'm going to try and use a vacuum to try and pull it out, because I don't want that falling in the engine at all. Now the geometry of it is meant to, you know, not fall in there, but you know, there's no guarantees. I do have a little pick, so I could probably pull it out that way, but I'm a little bit nervous that something's going to fall into the cylinder, which would really suck. Alright, back again. Kinda forgot I had a camera, so I did quite a few things in between now and then. So I went ahead and stuffed some paper towels in the open holes so that nothing falls in or anything, you know, just in case. I know that this is, you know, relatively clean and that there's not going to be anything that falls in, but just dust or anything like that, I don't want getting in here. And so I went ahead and took apart the fuel rail. Now there's a little diagram here that can, you know, explain it better than I can. But you can hold a pair of pliers like this on the little bracket that holds the fuel regulator, and it helps so that it doesn't bend whenever you're trying to get it off. It's a size 24, so it's pretty cramped in there, so I just used my impact and just zapped it off. I am going to be fixing these up. I got the O-rings off the previous ones. I'm going to be cleaning them up as much as I can, and then as well as the other bolts and stuff. Here's the pressure regulator and pressure damper. Replacing the O-rings on these is pretty dang easy. There's this small like specialty tool that they give you with the kit, and so each side does something specific for the little filters on here. This is the new one, right? This is what the old one looks like, pretty dirty. So there's a screw end on the other side of it, which you just screw it into this, and then you can use this other side to unthread it, and you see how it goes back, right? And so the actual face of it is going to push against the injector, and it's kind of going to draw it out a little bit like a cork bottle remover thing, you know what I mean? So you can put that on there and then use it, and then this other side is for the new filters that the kit comes with, and it's meant to be used to push them into place. So it's pretty easy. and that's how it turned out. So, alright. I'm gonna be all over the place. Get them off really easy. It's the right here that goes onto it. That slips into place. And there we go. Alright, so I went ahead and cleaned up the fuel rail a little bit, scrubbed it down, put some acetone on it, brushed it off, and now I'm going to wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol to prep it for painting. And hopefully the spray paint, it's going to be high heat spray paint too. It's from VHT. Anyways, that'll probably stick on pretty good. It's meant for high temperatures, so it's not going to come off super easy with the temperatures in the engine. So I'm hoping that it'll work out nice, and then I'll put a couple of coats of clear coat on it too. Alright, so I'm like halfway through the process, or well, more like 70% of the way done. You can't really see where I taped off, but this part, there, that segment, and then the other support bars on the other side. And so it's going to give it like a little bit of a two-tone look. I think it's going to look nice. And I made sure to mask it off really good. I think that's what took, you know, most of the time during this whole like process. I think I spent most of my time masking this all. And so coming back over here, another thing that I started doing off camera, I started using some of these wire covers. And so it's just like a little sleeve. I bought a roll of it for like 10 bucks on Amazon. This stuff's pretty nice. It's just you gotta cut a lot of excess before you actually put it on, because you gotta like compress it, and as you do that, the ends start to like kind of fray and then split because they're in a braided type of deal. So the more you push into it, the more it kind of comes apart. So just give yourself some excess if you're gonna do the same thing as me. But they just slide on over, and then I'm using electrical tape to kind of lock them down in place, so then they don't, you know, keep on making a problem. And I just have 2 of these left to do, and then it's gonna be nice. And then I'll be able to pop them back on. The blue matches pretty well with that and with that. So overall, I think it's gonna be a very nice look. Alright, so I got done with dressing up the wiring harness. I'm going to take a vacuum to this so that I get all the little extra bits of plastic out of here. I think it looks pretty good. Alright, so everything is painted, put back together. I have the pressure damper and regulator put back on as well. I need to tighten them once they're on the car. And I don't know, I think it turned out pretty good. There is a slight few areas where the paint came off due to the tape being on there. I think I just put the tape on way too early and started masking it before it was actually, you know, fully dry. But everything else is dried up really nice, and it's high heat resistance, and I think it looks really good. So it's gonna be looking pretty nice in the car. Alright, and so before I went ahead and started assembling everything, this is pre-assembling, I went ahead and organized all my tools. What I'm going to need for this is a screwdriver with a Phillips head. That is a 10 mil socket. We have a 3-inch extension, a 6-inch extension, little ratchet. Then we also have a size 14, 15, 17, and 19 sized wrench. Here's the 4 bolts that came off of it that fasten it to the camshaft housing. We have the 4 retaining clips, and then 4 more retaining clips that are for the injectors themselves. Alright, so back again. I got the fuel rail all mounted back up with the 4 bolts. So these things, they slip in, but they don't hold themselves on without the little metal spring clips that hold them in place, so I'm going to have to put those on. But it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I have to slip them all the way over. I did show you guys earlier in the video what those look like. So I think I'm just gonna have to mess around with it for a little bit. I do have this covered right here with a couple of rags so that whenever I put this line back on, the fuel won't go over anything. I'm also going to take these off again to put some dielectric grease on it before I actually install it, so that the connection is as good as it can be. And then I need to tighten these fittings up and tighten up this right here. Alright, so a little update about the connectors and these little spring clips that go on them. Don't get them on after you connect them. Put them on before, because they just slide over without you having to put these on. So good thing I double checked that was possible, because it makes it a whole lot easier. Alright, so I'm back. Everything is now connected up, so it's ready to start. The fittings are tightened, all the fasteners are tightened as well, and everything has been double checked, so it's all in there. And we're good to start it. But first, I definitely have to clean up my work area, because shit is all over the place. So here's what the final results look like. I know you can't really see the injectors themselves, but you know, taking the time to kind of dress it up a little bit makes it a lot better than what it looked like before. So I'm pretty happy I took on this project. Didn't take too long. Being fully transparent here, I thought it was going to take only a day, but the whole situation with the fuel rail, I tried to spray paint it once and it didn't go so well because I didn't prep it as well as I should have. So I had to strip the paint off and try again. So it did take a little bit longer. This is the third day. It was pretty much done yesterday. I just needed to finish the connectors, and I thought it was going to take longer than it actually did. So I just had a stopping point there and then came back and finished it up, but it only took like 30 minutes to do any of this. So overall, we're pretty much done with the project. All I need to do now is go ahead and prime it, see if any fuel leaks out anywhere. Hope the car doesn't light on fire. But I do have a fire extinguisher right here on deck in case anything happens, so that's good to have handy. So there's a couple things that I do have that'll make this a whole lot easier for myself. I do have a DME relay for the fuel pump, and that's going to be down here for anyone who's curious. Let me see if I can get my flashlight on it. Alright, so you see this little thing with all the text on it right here? That is the fuel pump relay. And so what it does is that it primes it as soon as the car is turned into accessories. So it starts the fuel pump for a little bit so that fuel goes into the fuel rail. And it makes it for a super easy startup. So that will help me a lot with any fuel issues and reliability, especially too when trying to start the car.